Hey everyone, it's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, Crypto Assets, and Interviews. Today's Thursday, July 6th. Hope you're well. And in this video, I've got an exciting one for you today. The media was reporting that we could potentially see Curaleaf buying Cronos Group, which is backed by cigarette maker Altria. So we'll discuss all that and more. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. Help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell to be notified on any future videos or when I go live. I'll bring the article up here in just a moment. It is from Reuters, and then I want to go through a few other talking points as well and a few other articles and some bullish catalysts. We were talking about this in the Pow Group private community today as well, but I did want to make a dedicated video because this could be huge. I've been wondering about how many more consolidation, how much more consolidation, how many mergers and acquisitions we're going to see. And we know that Canopy is targeting acreage once federally permissible to do so, and we're now starting to see where U.S. operators are starting to look at acquiring Canadian operators, which I thought was just a matter of time. And we still need a ton of consolidation in the space, right? And Cronos was definitely a buyout target, and they haven't really been making very many waves lately. But full disclosure, I do own Curaleaf in my portfolio. This isn't financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'll never tell you to buy, sell, or hold. You need to do your own research and due diligence and buy something because you want to buy it, not because somebody on YouTube tells you to buy it or your friend or family member or what have you. But I don't own any Cronos. I only own Curaleaf out of these two companies. And this is just speculation. Nothing has been confirmed yet, but this is the article here from Reuters. And again, I have Curaleaf as my top three. I'm very bullish on Curaleaf, and you'll see why here in just a moment. Just a few talking points. I've done videos on them in the past. As my top five, I'd say top three biggest holding in MJ. In my MJ portfolio, I got about 15 different MJ stocks, a mix of US producers, Canadian producers, retailers, ETFs, you name it. Diversification is key. And like I said, it's in my top three. It's my biggest MSO holding in my portfolio. But here's the article from Reuters. Exclusive Altria-backed MJ producer Cronos exploring sale. And you can see here's data from today, July 6th. The Canadian MJ producer backed by cigarette maker Altria is exploring options that include a potential sale after attracting acquisition interest, people familiar with the matter said. So usually some sort of insider that doesn't want to be named. Toronto-based Cronos is working with financial advisors to help the expression of interest in a deal from other companies, including US-based peer Curaleaf Holdings Inc., the sources said. The sources requested anonymity because of the discussions are confidential and are cautions that no transaction is certain. Cronos and Curaleaf declined to comment. Spokesperson from Altria did not immediately respond to a request for comment either. Shares of Cronos jumped as much as 25% in Toronto on the news, giving the company a market value of $1.03 billion. Prior to Thursday, the shares had lost a quarter of their value so far this year. The future of MJ industry is uncertain, with a favorable regulatory regime in North America have fueled fierce competition among a growing number of companies. We know there's over 1,000 LPs here in Canada. That's not sustainable. Fire and Flower going through insolvency rate. So we know that the times are tough, and even the biggest of the big can't potentially be guaranteed long-term staying power, right? So, and again, I think Cronos was a target for a very long time. The recreational use of MJ is now legal in 23 U.S. states. Growing and selling MJ remains legal under U.S. federal law, although President Joe Biden administration has signaled it is seeking a review on how the drug is classified. We know HHS is due to come back by the end of the year, hopefully, with a reclassification, whether it be descheduled or even, rescheduled or even descheduled, would be huge. U.S. lawmakers have also been considering making it easier for the industry to access banking services. We know that we could see a vote realistically any week now with regards to safe banking bill. And then, like I said, with regards to rescheduling, descheduling, we could even fix all of those problems, including 280E, and then we could potentially see uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, which would be huge. Bigger for the US MSOs, but huge for the whole space, right? Just because of sheer hype. For the first quarter, Cronos posted a net loss of $19.3 million compared to a loss of $32.7 million a year ago. Net revenue declined 20% to $20.1 million, and Cronos has total cash, including short-term investments, of about $836.43 million. So definitely hoarding a ton of cash. Altria, which holds 41% stake in Cronos, invested $1.8 billion in the company in 2019. So again, a definite buyout target, and we know that the competition has been getting extremely difficult here in Canada with over 1,000 LPs. That's just not sustainable. There's probably going to be a ton of insolvencies and bankruptcies from here on out, and a ton of consolidation and mergers and acquisitions. We know that Tilray bought Hexo, and then so now it's essentially Tilray, Aphria, Hexo, and Redecan. So what are these other companies going to do, like Canopy, right? We know that they've been struggling. We know these other companies like Organigram, they haven't really been making any strides, right? So they could be potentially a buyout target, and they could even, maybe Organigram gets acquired by somebody, maybe, Canopy buys somebody else, maybe somebody buys Canopy, but there's one thing for sure is consolidation is definitely needed. And like I said, the fact that Tilray's making all these moves and now they're number one. It just goes to show that it's probably going to entice other companies to do deals as well, whether it be buying out or getting bought out, or being the person buying other people out, right? So acquiree versus acquirer. There's just going to be a ton of consolidation, in my opinion. And then in other news, Curaleaf also bought Portuguese MJ processing facility from Cleverleaf. So a wholly owned subsidiary of New York-based MJ multi-state operator Curaleaf Holdings has acquired a processing facility in Portugal from Colombian MJ company Cleverleafs. And you can see here that in April 2021, Curaleaf announced that it had completed its previously announced acquisition of EMMAC Life Sciences Limited, the largest vertically integrated independent MJ company in Europe. So the acquisition gives Curaleaf Cultivation EU GMP certification processing, which is great, right? They can access and export to the rest of the EU. So that gives them processing, distribution, and R&D operations in several key European MJ markets, including United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. And speaking of Germany, Germany published the first draft of law of recreational MJ. So again, this is going to be a huge market. I think Curaleaf is going to be a huge beneficiary of this market, and they're potentially going to be right there with Tilray in owning the Europe, right, specifically Germany, but the European market as a whole. Also, Curaleaf celebrates the launch of adult use MJ sales in Maryland. So this is huge as well. This was back in June, 29th of June. So again, this is another key market. And then we have even more states potentially set to legalize. We could even see Florida on the ballot for recreational here in 2024. We'll keep an eye on it. But taking a look at the chart here, we did have a weekly bear flag with the high, low, lower high. Anything under that 0.382 fib at 680 on that weekly bounce was a potential bear flag, and it was a very, very weak bounce. And then if you take the measured move from the high to the low, measure that out, it said that we were targeting here roughly about 285, and we hit a low of 297. So actually double bottom there at 297. So if you played off that double bottom, already about 60% of upside from there, and we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross with the shorter term moving average EMA below the longer term EMA, in this case the 12 and the 26 period. And if they cross, that's a very bullish scenario where we could even see the price go up to all the way up to around 537, and we really have a lack of resistance all the way up until about 1068 on Curaleaf. So I've been very, very bullish on Curaleaf, especially after we hit this weekly bear flag target. We were weekly oversold as well on the RSI, and then in the monthly with those lower wicks, we were very close to monthly oversold as well. So again, if you know nothing about technical analysis, and this isn't a guarantee, it's just probabilities, if you buy when we're down here, usually when we're oversold, and sell when we're up here when we're overbought, you'll do better than 99% of people out there. But again, not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. But the monthly bounce is underway. We're still looking for a monthly lower high compared to 1068 is the most likely scenario. But everything is looking really, really good here in terms of Curaleaf. One of the strongest charts. We are approaching daily overbought territory, so it's likely due for some short-term pullback. But CRON, like I said, from the low of yesterday, it was up, it was almost 22% from the low of yesterday, 21.5%, and then closed near the low of the day. Down another 20%, and then straight into a daily bounce and then daily consolidation today. So a bit of a whipsaw of action here at the moment. But obviously the market didn't respond that well, and then Curaleaf closing near the high of the day today, which is interesting. But this chart's been one of the most bullish charts in MJ. And we can see here that we had a bull cross of the MACD on the weekly, bull cross of the stochastic, and multiple weekly candle closes over that 10-week moving average. So it's looking really, really good here on Curaleaf. Definitely probably the most strongest chart in MJ at the moment, and we have some runway there until the 50 weekly there at 587 as well, the 50 weekly moving average. After that, we have the 100 there at 815, and we could be gearing up for a bull cross here and a golden cross of the 50-day and the 200-day. When the 50-day is below the 200-day moving average and they cross again, shorter term below the longer term, that's a bull cross. And on the daily time frame, with respect to the 50 and the 200, that's called a golden cross, which would insinuate a lot of potential upside from here. And we also have the 200-day moving average at 549. So 549 and 587, so just under $6 is going to be very, very hard to get above, in my opinion. That could be a local top to be targeting a local top at. And then potentially a pullback to around 4, maybe even 350 is what I would expect. But we're still multiple weeks, I would say at least 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 2 or 3 months away before we see these golden crosses. And then we need to see golden crosses across the sector, not just in the US operators, but the Canadian operators, ETFs, and we need monthly uptrends with higher lows and higher highs to give us those monthly uptrends to be confident. But going down it there, it's Rob with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think it's a good idea that Curaleaf acquires Cronos? Do you think it's a bad idea on Cronos' part? Would love hearing from you, but going to end it there. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. We'll see you on the next video.